Okay, here I am with my very good friend, Mr. Ricky Nandlal, at his residence of number 26 Garth Road, Brothers.
Yep, that's how it should be.
And I'm going to pose a few questions to him regarding his early childhood and his educational attainment and what part he played in this community. That is the development of this community of brothers. So here is this gracious gentleman. Well, this is Mr. Ricky Nandlal. Can you tell me how old are you and when were you born?
I think, well, for the date for sure, I know it's 5th October 1954.
1950, okay. And which school did you go to?
But that's Presbyterian.
Well, tell me some of your parents very briefly.
Worked at what have been in those days, Carony Limited for
Okay.
what as cane cutters. I think father was what his specialty was drainage.
Okay.
And of course, they like all the other most of the other people, they were cane farmers as well. So
Okay.
they had,
So did your mother work in the sugarcane industry?
yeah, of course, together with him.
Okay. When you say drainage, what do you mean?
I mean, there's in the rainy season, of course, when they plow the lands, they had to restore the drains, right? Remember,
Okay.
the land was organized in beds.
Okay.
So their job was to set up all the drainage network then to move water, to restore the beds and then link it up back to all the main drains and then the rivers and whatever.
And what did your mother do in the estate?
Well, like most of the other women, I think initially they would be cutting cane, and I think there would have been some other tasks they were involved in. I
Okay.
think planting.
And what estate are you speaking about?
Well, it would have been Brothers Estate as well.
But were they born here? Were they born here?
She was born here, as far as we know, right?
And
My
your
father,
dad?
I'm not sure. I think they moved from where it was, but I think Torres. But with that part of the detail, I not Sprayman them would probably know what
Okay.
other members would know.
So that
but
no,
we know for sure she was.
So how large is your family? That is your father's, your mother, the union produced children. How many children?
Right. So there were 2 girls and how many? What 6 boys actually.
Okay. Okay, coming to you now. Which school did you go to?
We brothers. Initially, it would have been Brothers CM School, right?
Okay.
The name changed after the Brothers Presbyterian.
Okay, and after that, where did you go?
Naprima College for 7 years.
Okay. And what was your educational attainment at
Maybe
Naprima?
like O levels, A levels.
And
Science was the major.
We are speaking about what period? What year?
1966 to 73.
Okay, and from there, what happened after?
From there, I went up to UWE, University, and I was doing natural sciences, but I think the inclination to move on. So I left UWE. I didn't finish that particular degree, and I moved on to England afterwards, where I did electronics.
Okay.
And then
So,
yes, go ahead.
okay, and you graduated in what with a degree, is it?
No, it would have been a higher national diploma.
Okay. And did you advance yourself academically in that
Afterwards,
field?
I got my degree afterwards in first class honors in electronics and electrical engineering
From what
at the
university?
University of Sunderland.
Okay.
Initially, I went to now it is called South Bank University.
Okay. How many years did it take you?
Over there would have been approximately 2 years, and then the degree took another 3 years. So in total, it would have been about 5 years with university education.
Okay. Well, did you stop there?
No, when I came back, I did the deped at UWE as a teacher's diploma, if you want to call it. So, and then I did a lot of other courses.
Okay. Now having done this diploma in education, did you? Well, that was geared towards teaching.
Yeah.
So then you decided to become a teacher?
No, I was a teacher already.
What you taught? What did you teach?
I teach area subjects, so the mathematics, physics.
What is it at elementary school?
No, it was all at O levels, and then at technical would have been people doing engineering courses.
What school was it?
San Fernando Tech. Well, several schools. I thought that Shagwana Senior Comprehensive.
Okay.
They have renamed it now. Then I taught at Princestown Senior Comprehensive.
Okay.
Then at San Fernando Tech, the majority of years would have been at San Fernando Tech. About 20 odd years. And,
Okay, so so you have now in your possession or your as an academic qualification a degree in electronics.
right.
And did you go beyond a degree? First.
No.
Oh, you just.
Yeah, you see, the time constraint and family and
But
house and all
would
that.
you say now that you're expert in electronics?
Well, I mean, in terms of what I have to do, yes, I would say so.
Okay. Now, if you want to go further in the field, is there anything further to learn
Well,
in that field?
before we even go further, I just want to let you know I was offered a partial scholarship while I was in England.
Okay.
And I think I should mention this. The NER government was in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And they told me that, hang on, there will be scholarship for tuition, but you have to pay for boarding and lodging.
Okay.
And I had written the then government there, and Dukran and then was in charge of the students revolving. So when I came back, because my course had finished, and I said, well, let me go to them, approach them for to cover the other aspect of that course in England. I would have had my degree already, and they told me what money ran out. That they said the money ran out, and they don't have any money.
So
that,
the government,
when the English institution called me and asked me if I'm not coming back, then I said, well, no, I can't come, because I'm not getting the funding that I require.
Okay.
So that put a whole damper on the story.
So would you say that if you had gotten that?
Oh yeah, I probably may not have come back. It's very possible that like my sister, she just moved through the ranks.
Okay.
That's the beauty about living in those foreign countries.
Okay, let's now go, and you as a farmer, I am aware you're a well qualified man in that field. You have taught for 20
Yeah, 20 odd years.
20 odd
Well, in
years.
total, it would be 30 something years.
30 something years in various schools.
33 years, various schools. The majority.
So what do you do now? What do you do now? Have you retired?
Yeah.
When did you retire?
2014.
Okay, let's concentrate on another aspect of your life. I mean, you are a teacher, which is a noble profession,
Of course.
and combining that with your voluntary community work, I need to find out from you, when did you start as a voluntary social worker in Garth, what year and what capacity or capacities?
Well, I think it would have kicked in through the sport, via the sports club. From my early years, I mean, after having played, I got involved in the management side of the club. So
Okay.
I think initially I would have held position as treasurer at some point in time. And then later on I became captain of the football team and then president of the club. Right, and in that role, we did fundraisers. In fact, we would have saved. We would have been the first village, to do a fundraiser to send a child to the Toronto hospital for 6 children to do a open heart surgery. And
You don't want to identify that person?
If it is
Okay, it's good that you should know.
It's one of the Garb, is a guy named Ramnaran Garb's daughter,
Okay,
and her name was Priya.
okay.
Right, so we would have raised collectively in that period.
And she's fully recovered?
She's well alive. She has.
So what year was it?
That would have been around, let me see, probably in the 80s, somewhere in the 80s.
Okay.
Can't recall exactly, but it would have been somewhere in the 80s.
Okay.
That's
Now,
what I was
okay,
looking
that
at.
is through the club. Is it
Sorry?
through
Yeah.
the
Well,
through
the
the club?
club took it on as a project
Okay.
because it was desperate, and we said, well, hang on, let's try and do something about it.
But can you tell me who were the principal driving forces during that period in the club?
Well, it would be myself, then we had Jonas, right? Who else? Well, Tola himself would have been involved. And,
Tola, who's Tola?
well,
Yes.
sorry, that's a quoted nickname there. That is Ramnarayan Garth. That's the
Okay.
girl's father.
Okay.
And there were a couple other guys who I'm trying to recollect now. Ashton Bahadur would have been one of the others
Okay.
there at the time. And then, no, I don't think he was around for that. No, he wasn't around. He had moved out already.
Okay.
But there would have been a few other fellas who involved who had played cricket with Ram Narayan, and so he. In terms of names, it would be quite a few people, but I don't know.
Did you play cricket also?
No, I was totally football, never into cricket.
No football.
So
okay.
it was football and management. That was my
Okay,
side of
from what I know, that ground used to be maintained by the
Yes.
Sugar Estate,
Yes, Carney Limited.
the Sugar Estate Company,
Yeah, Carney Limited.
Carney Limited. But previous to that, there was another estate at Lyle, is it?
Yes, it would have been.
Now, sometimes when I pass it during those periods, that ground used to be sort of abandoned in the sense
Yes, it
that
was. It was prior to 1984. I would say around, let's say around 80, 84, and probably even a little bit more people than that. Yeah, the grass was as tall as cane. If you passed there and somebody was there, you couldn't even see them. And
So
so
what-
it was left to bull and goats and all kinds of things like that.
so it became a pasture.
Yes, technically it was totally abandoned, unusable.
But how it was cured?
Pardon?
How did it transform itself?
Right. I have to say, I myself was instrumental in causing that turnaround, because through the councillor who we had supported and campaigned for, Lachman Sitran.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a councillor for the area. We made approaches to him that we would like to get some action on the ground, seeing that Carney Limited wasn't really doing anything as such and couldn't care. And thank God, they sent the tractors to initially start cutting the ground, and then that triggered the whole thing. So we, not too long after that, we had a sports grade, which the village wouldn't have seen for many years. Mm-hmm. And I think that whole, that caused a total reawakening, and if you want to.
Okay, the consciousness of people were aroused.
Yes.
Was aroused.
Yes. So we had a reawakening and a rejuvenation.
So that you had the popular support of the people.
Yeah.
And sporting was, the spirit of sport was ignited.
Right. Reignited.
Reignited, oh yeah, that is the word.
So we got
Now,
back into everything: football, cricket. We even ran a competition as well. I was involved in a competition for football.
now
Then the pavilion.
the pavilion.
Yeah.
Okay, now was that who takes care of that recreation ground now?
Now it's under county council.
But who was responsible for that? Well, having it because it was Carney Limited
So
land.
they transferred it. So
The
they left
transfer-
it there. I remember when County closed down, but
Okay.
even before County closed down, I think that it went across to them. Because they had given up everything, they weren't seen about it. So the ground, I think the county decided to take it over.
Now, you had just mentioned a while ago, and in fact it was captured here. You spoke about the pavilion. When was the first pavilion constructed? And by whom?
I think it would have been in around 85 before I left to go to England. So within that period of time, it was done very quickly. And I would have been a president at the time. So it was under my, what you want to call stewardship that we got that pavilion going.
Okay. So how large was that pavilion?
Not much smaller than what the current one that they have.
But how many people you could have accommodated?
I would say roughly about, the seating wise, probably hold about 100.
Okay, and made of what?
It was constructed with, we got steel pipes. We bought steel pipes then really from one of the Ramotas boys from Bulambal.
Okay. Samuel Ramota, is it?
The one who died, the one in living in
The contractor.
Kent
The
Street.
contractor.
Yeah, he died. We never did his boom big son was, but he died many years ago.
Gilbert Ramota, Gilbert?
Yeah, Gilbert, right. So we bought pipes from him. would have been or drill pipe or whatever have you. And we got, my brother-in-law was involved in part of the welding, setting up the seats area.
Yeah.
And we, through Sitcharan, we were able to get some planks.
So you want to talk about Sitcharan? Who is this
This
Sitcharan?
Latchman Sitcharan, former
Who was he?
He was the councillor for the area.
So the county council helped. Did they help? He helped.
Yes, he assisted with.
In other words, the Victoria County Council then.
Right. In
It
terms
is
of
now
ground maintenance, and he assisted us with getting
Okay.
the planks then for the seating for the.
Okay, but the construction, the steel structure was done by.
Right. We had people.
Not by the county council.
No, this was local input. The roof was done by the guys.
So the only thing that was done, they supplied, the county council did, was supply and construct.
Not totally. We paid for some. They kind of get an ease off on the price for us, I think, for the planks.
Oh, okay. So you all bought.
Yes, we bought everything. We bought everything.
Oh, so they help in.
We have true funds that we raised in a.
They help in the carpentry aspect of
nothing,
it.
No, they had nothing to do with it.
So what was the extent of their help?
I would say just in getting some of the planks, locating the planks in the hardware in a sawmill in Maruga actually.
So that is all they did?
Yeah, that was all
the county council.
Now,
now, the county council now is renamed Prince Regional Corporation, okay? Yeah, it is, yeah.
I think it would have been Victoria County Council.
Yeah, it was Victoria County Council.
Yeah.
So they only gave you a recommendation to get a discount in the hardware?
Yeah, I think that's basically as far as I can recall. I think
okay.
You still have to pay.
Okay, but you all bought the materials, right? You all had your own contractor to...
Local labor, we had local labor.
Local labor, voluntary labor.
Voluntary labor.
Okay, and now I see a massive, well I won't call it massive, but a medium-sized pavilion. When that was constructed?
I think that was constructed that would have been around 91, 92 when this house was built. It's got to be around that period of time.
Okay.
I would say, I would have a hazard a guess is 91.
Okay, let's go to the...
that was built under this guy who was the Minister of Local Government.
Mr. Daniel Singh.
Daniel Singh, right. Under his tenureship, right. So they will have the dates from that, you could get that.
Okay. Now, let us go now to the club. Is the club still alive, the Brothers Sports Club?
But not in the form that I had initially set it up. It was just specific, they just cricket, full stop. There's nothing else to it.
Only cricket?
Yeah, only cricket.
But the ground is well used?
I would say so, but no, during the rainy season, no, it's not. There's no football.
Okay, there's
nothing else. There's no football and nothing.
But
so
there's
just cricket, full stop.
Cricket, okay. But
when we had it was everything. That could have been done at that time.
Okay. Understand. But now it's about 8 o'clock and I have been in that at Brothers Recreation Ground since about 5:30. And I've seen people using the recreation ground for the purpose of exercising, practicing cricket, and both ladies and men walking, doing their evening walks and so on. So and then it is lit brightly.
Yes, the lighting is
and I think it is the club or the recreation ground is not. It is not like what we call a white elephant, but a recreation ground can be an elephant. Right? It has been used.
Yeah, at least there's occupation, in certain aspects, but not to the maximum.
Okay. Well, of course, the only thing is missing there is football.
Well, I mean, of course, there are other sports now. I thought to the side of the pavilion, if they were really serious about it, they could have probably set up maybe a basketball court or so.
To diversify the
that's
sport.
That's right, to expand the thing, volleyball or whatever have you. But, and even some of the construction of the pavilion, I think, was really a back in times mentality to not include a clubhouse, so to speak, where meetings and so on could have been held.
So that it is just a building,
just
a spectator.
Spectator seating, full stop.
Okay.
And I think that has to do with poor design, and not being futuristic, to say.
But it's not too late to install additional facility. And the recreation ground is large enough to
No, it's a
accommodate,
beautiful, no doubt about that.
and it is large enough to accommodate.
The ground, I would say, in the entire area here, I mean, without being impartial, it is probably one of the best grounds in the area, especially for cricket. The way it was designed, and that was designed. I think Williamsville ground, reform and Balawan can't match. They can't match up. They can't match this ground. It was well shaped and whatever have you. And I think even the location where it's located, is probably one of the best located grounds. And then with a setting like next to the temple, it's really a nice setting there.
Okay, I know.
And away from the main road at that time.
Okay, let's move on to something else. What do you have to say about the community here?
Boy,
Since the sugar industry has closed, can you tell me what year was it?
right. Maybe I should just digress a little bit. Part of my involvement, and I did not mention this earlier, was to resurrect the community center. Right? And that collapsed because we had the detractors then who went and destroyed the place afterwards, despite our best efforts to get it up and running.
So, okay, we understand that aspect of it. Because, now, is there a move?
Right. I
to
have initiated.
the village council is
There's no
defunct.
village council, there's nobody. All that that died.
Okay.
And I have initiated correspondence then with the last government, which was supposed to reach the Prime Minister. In fact, the letter was initially addressed to her and sent via the former MP. MPs, in fact, because we had MP for Princeton. We really is.
You're speaking of Mr. Baksh Said.
Baksh and what's his name? Khan. What's his name? Neela Khan.
Okay.
To get access to the former estate site.
What Baksh is he?
Nizam.
No, Nizam Baksh. Okay.
Baksh,
Okay.
yeah. So the plan was to access the former estate office. That was the name. The general term was the office. Because it could have been utilized and renovated or redesigned and to give us a center. And so far we haven't had a response. Right? Government has changed, I mean.
So what do you?
More importantly, we wanted to preserve that as a heritage site.
You are speaking about the estate compound.
Yes,
which housed once the
used to be office.
the pen.
Yeah, was a combination of buildings, right?
Yeah, I know. We have the pen where animal used to be
right.
Well, or animal used to be kept after working, and then we had the office there.
It's still there, yeah. The office side is still there.
And we had the storeroom and whatever.
So the office/storeroom would still be there.
And then the silo.
The silo is still there, which we were hoping to use as a monument to put the people's names here. If we have gotten through this project.
But it's not too late. It's not too late.
We're still hoping that it comes out.
Okay.
That we could get something. And I think this will probably be one of the last, because all the rest have been destroyed. All the other offices, as far as we know. The reform one, I think everything has been destroyed. So if we get through with this, then we could have something very unique that for Trinidad. And I'm sure a lot of people who, not only who live in here, but who have gone away, would certainly appreciate that. This is something worth preserving. I think one of the bad things about Trinidad, well, I wouldn't say Trinidadians, because we still have the desire to. We don't appreciate history. We never seem to appreciate history and keeping things alive. Everything is.
Okay, in my book titled History of Williamsville, I have taken photographs of those buildings I spoke about, the remnants of those buildings, and they form part of my book, right? So that I think those things need rehabilitating, those buildings there.
Yeah, I think they deserve to be be preserved.
I know they should be in the archives.
Of course, yeah.
And
It's something worth preserving, really. I mean, especially here, because that represents our life to some extent. Well, we not say
well,
to
of
some
course,
extent,
of
but
course,
totally.
our,
Well,
my
that's right. That's what the source of income was.
my father was born there.
Yeah,
My
everybody.
grandparents came from India.
This village and the surroundings, which would include Corial, Williamsville, and then you had higher up there. That was the hub of life in the village. You know, were it not for that, one wonders what would have happened.
Okay, well, we have spoken a lot. Do you want to say anything additional then?
Yeah, I mean, having taught for so many years, part of my dream really was to set up in that very same thing we're talking about there, was to go and set up a training center, right? So the children then who would have missed the opportunity with the O levels and so on. And not only that, you have a lot of housewives then who I'm sure would like to get involved in so many courses to improve themselves, in health and family life and skills and whatever. So, I mean, it's my dream really to see a place like that being resurrected for these reasons I just mentioned. I think this village really needs something there like other villages. It's something that we badly need of. And it's a dream I hope that we could get fulfilled. As a kind of legacy, not only to my parents, but then to all those who have passed through here. So that,
Okay, I understand what you're speaking about, but I need to know the dimension of the building that exists there now.
It's difficult to say what that is.
Well, is it how far is it has deteriorated?
I haven't been there because you don't want to go in there it's still a state property. But I suppose if we could go with a councillor or somebody and actually have a look at it and see whether.
Okay,
me, in my opinion, I think from an engineering point, I think it could be restored.
It could be restored because there are pillars.
Part of it could be
Now
restored.
you are speaking about the office.
Yeah, the office could be restored.
Now we are speaking now. Let's go down to the west of it. There is the pen, is it? There is a.
Right, no, that's totally gone.
That's
So
gone
it
too.
won't work.
And the silo, how is?
The silo is still. I will keep that silo as a for historical purposes.
Okay.
And I was saying that part of the thing was one, wherever they were located, they have been destroyed. So it will be one of a kind if it remains there. Otherwise, all in Trinidad has been destroyed. And not only, I want to use it as a remembrance tower, then, if you want to call it that, where we would put names of all the people who would have passed through. Of course, it might be difficult, but it would be like the managers, who are the prominent managers, who are the prominent workers, and that kind of thing. So this would have been like a remembrance tower then, to have people's names up there. And leave it as a legacy for the villagers, whoever comes afterwards.
Well, of course, whatever assistance you will need, I think we are supposed to form a committee.
Yeah, of course, we talk about that. We didn't get a chance to explore that in more detail, but it's something, a project I would like to see off the ground, And I know you from Canada. I'm sure if we remember, we had suggested that Trin-Can connection. Okay. And I'm sure, well, we don't have much people in London, but I'm sure if we tap into the resources in Canada, I'm sure we have some in the States, right? I think they would be the major players now in the States and Canada. But maybe, as I say, London probably don't have too much. But I'm sure if we put our heads together, it's something that we could actually get off the ground.
Okay.
Right, and it's not just going to be the benefit of people of brothers, but those surrounding areas, with the kind of vision that I have for that place. I'm sure that it's going to be something different. It's going to be not the run-of-the-mill community center. It's going to be totally different.
So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to probably speak to the county council. I'll speak to the member of parliament, Mr. Rodney Charles, and we should have a meeting with them.
We have a delegation. We need to go with a delegation.
Okay, I will get some people from my village.
We need to go as a group. Best as a group. Yeah. Well, just to let you know, and this is probably, we didn't expose this as yet, but I had initiated a group called BGIO, Brothers Garth Improvement Organization. That is just when Kamala and them took over. And I thought we would use that as the vehicle, seeing that there was no village council. So I was going to use that as a vehicle then to launch this whole thing, and the focus would have been on that. So we had formed a committee, but people just got discouraged and we wouldn't leave with it. But I mean, the seeds are already there. It's just a matter now is to get it to mushroom and we could take it forward. And I'm sure, like everything else, I don't see it impossible, but it cannot be impossible.
Okay, so this is a
Because
big.
I'm a visionary. I'm sure.
So this is the big. So this is the big plan now.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Well, I must thank you, Mr. Nandlal, for having invited me here to interview you and to discuss village affairs, which would form part of the book that I propose to write on brothers Garth, Coriel, and Chutua. I think the information you provided, all the information that you provided will, in fact, are pertinent to and would be incorporated in the book. Okay, I must thank you very much. So this is the gentleman there, Mr. Ricky Nandlal, with whom I have just spoken. So thank you very much, Mr. Nandlal.